Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
We run the clock, Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football, time of year, don't stop.
We're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias, Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies, college ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. I seen Roddy off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a 50 scientist. He's streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on the show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best, from the ACC to the SEC, Pac-12, Big 10, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like the clock? Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football, time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Super 16 show with myself. I'm not going to speak about myself in the third person, but this is a Super 16 show. And unfortunately, this is week 14, which means it's the last Super 16 poll show of the year. However, we have a list of exciting shows to bring you in the next couple weeks. We are going to have a Super 16 bowl show when we highlight all the bowls that are going to be going on. That's going to be next Monday, December 13th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that's going to go through all, I believe there's 41 bowls or 40 bowls. We're going to cover everyone from the Bahamas Bowl that's going to be on December 17th to the Big Daddy, which is the final national championship game, which is going to be on January 10th. However, before January 10th, we're actually going to give you something special, which is going to be the following Monday. It'll be January 3rd, which will be the post, kind of talking about all the incredible games that have gone on during the bowl season. We'll talk about results, matchups, everything else, who beat who, obviously. And then we will give you kind of a pre-show of the national championship game on January 10th. But then we have more. On January 10th, we will be on 1 hour before the national championship game. So we will be on at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, because the national championship game is going to be on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. That's a national championship game. But you'll hear all this stuff on social media and everything else. So December 13th, we have a pre-bowl show. January 3rd, we have kind of a post-bowl game, pre-national championship game show. And then January 10th, 1 hour before the national championship game, we'll be on giving you like last minute stuff, all the hype before the game. And then, but wait, there's more. Right after the game, we will have a national championship hour live. What is that? NCH live? What is that? NCHL? I mean, is that what it is?
Yeah, we're going to be live together, breaking down bowls, not Kellogg's, but real bowl, football bowls. We're going to be breaking down the national championship in the BHL fashion, right, Chris? Responding right away on a live post-game show of the national championship.
Michael, I'm looking for the Fiesta. I'm toward the Fiesta as well. I think it's going to be a great matchup, but I will get into that in a couple minutes. But it's exciting because there just may have been some other Notre Dame news that went on.
Yeah, there's a lot of
literally since this show last week.
We broke the news, Chris.
Well, you broke it. I was shocked and I didn't believe you. I thought you were pulling my leg. I thought you were
Shane, actually.
Because
Shane, you can't trust Shane, but he was he was under it. And we did it here. We had your authentic reaction to it.
Very authentic.
Last week.
A lot of people were giving me shit because when we said it, I said that Marcus, the current head football coach of Notre Dame, was young. He's only been at Notre Dame for at that time, 11 months or something like that.
Right.
And I said that they should go in another direction at first. And then there was, this huge groundswell and, folks loved it. And then you had to look at the situation because he recruited his butt off and people, all the recruits were talking about Freeman era and we want Freeman and everything. And so literally it was one of those situations where the athletic director was like, hey, I got to hire this guy. If I don't hire this guy, then I'm going to lose all these recruits. So I think it's going to be interesting. And the reason why, and don't get me wrong, I am 1,000% behind Marcus Freeman. I just came back from his press conference. I have a little footage from that. Yes, sir. But before I get into all my stuff.
Yes.
Was there a Bears game on Saturday?
Was there one, Chris? Because I was trying to find the game on television because fans didn't show up. And the fans that did show up didn't show up in the way I had hoped that they would show up. Now, some fans did, and I'll share this right here. They even made T-shirts. Look at these guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys went out there and represented. That's what I'm talking about. But not everybody was like Jake and Jake Schroba and his crew there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're sending the message. I mean, yesterday was an embarrassment. As a former Bear yourself, obviously, I don't know how much you withstood watching that game. I watched every play no matter what. But yesterday I had like Mr. Englewood 77 is saying, a classic rant. Just feeling the vibe of what is going down with the Chicago Bears and all this pent-up aggression for 9 years dealing with this franchise mishaps in hiring, just like Notre Dame did. They made a move. They did a right thing in our minds right now. I think it's a blessing in disguise for Notre Dame, but we'll get into that at that point. But here are the Chicago Bears trying to stand up out there and say, hey, we have never fired a coach in our 101-year history during the season, as if that's something positive.
Right.
How about in your 101-year history, how many Super Bowls have you won? Change the course, put football first. That was my rant. And Matt Nagy was just horrible.
Was he bad?
Oh, it was the worst excuse giving. It's almost like he listened to me, copied what I said about David Montgomery and spoke it there. It's too late, bro. It's year 4. And David Montgomery happened to speak, and we put him on our BHL. And he's more of a leader of men than his head coach. And that's the problem, Chris. And again, I know Ted Phillips is a huge issue and ownership. And I'm going to get into that all on Keeping It 100 on Wednesday night. But tonight, just the game was a showcase of complete Nagy. It's just Nagy calling his plays. And when you have a running back that's hot and that's averaging 6-7 yards a pop, you don't pull him out of the game. You just don't do it. And it's just the same pattern, the same thing I've been complaining about. And I'm proud of the fact that I was at the forefront of showcasing how great David Montgomery has been. In 2019, I led this charge, fighting all these blog boys, literally verbatim watching David run with the kind of passion that you need. You turn on the Steelers game and you see, Najee Harris running his heart out and Mike Tomlin feeding him. That's what you do. You feel the rhythm of a game.
Right.
This guy can't do that. He can't have a plan. He finally got Grant involved, but it's too little too late. Andy Dalton, 4 interceptions. You talk about a defense, a secondary that didn't want to tackle, just a showcase of just packing it in. And I don't know, you were on some poor teams, as you said, under Dave Wanstead. But when you feel the energy and the crowd felt it and people are leaving at halftime, walking out, halftime, never to return. Brad Biggs, me and Biggs don't really get along. Maybe we could patch it up now because we got a common enemy that is. But he said this tweet out there, and I'm paraphrasing it. He said, I don't know if the bathroom lines are backed up all the way out into the street and around the stadium, or the concession stands are as well. But there seems to be a lot less filled seats here coming out of halftime.
Oh my gosh.
And it stayed that way. They just left. And listen, like I said to begin, you don't quit on your team. I'm not that guy. I don't find a new team to cheer for. I'm loyal to the end. In fact, I can't even play with another team when I'm playing Madden with my kids. I have to play with the Bears. So it's like, that's how loyal and crazy I am about it. But
wait, hold on. So let me get this straight. You won't let your kids play with the Bears. If they
I will let them play.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if you were that psycho. You're like, no, you can't have them. They're my team.
If they want them, they have to play me against them. So I have to make my substitutions.
I get your kid.
You know what I'm saying? So we have a blast playing Madden together. But in all honesty, listen, to put a bow on this, in the history of my life, of watching and cheering and sneaking into bars to see you play, everything I've done for this franchise, they did the big Italian fangu to every fan and every person by the way they performed and the way the coach handled his business. And Andy Dalton, if that was Justin Fields that had thrown 4 interceptions, your head coach would have had a different narrative. That's a problem. That's a problem. With David Montgomery averaging 6 yards per carry, you don't go away from it until he says, hey, Coach Zorich, hey, Coach Ottochian, pull me out. I need a break. Then you put in this kid runs for 25 yards on a flare route, breaks 3 tackles, stiff arms a guy for 11 or 7 yards, and they take him out the next play to replace him with Herbert, who he's not. I know he's a good back, but David Montgomery's elite. It's like, this is the politics of football with the Chicago Bears. That's the reality. If David Montgomery was chosen, Chris, in the top 10 or top 20 of the draft, there would be more of an emphasis to game plan your offense around David Montgomery. That's when you know you don't have a real great leader of men as a head coach. They allow politics. As great as I don't care what round someone comes in, undrafted, if they are great, then you find the way to get them the football for the team to succeed.
Sure.
And listen, I've played running back, I've played punt return, I played every position practically on defense except D tackle. I even rushed a passer a couple times. I know when a running back is taking you down all the way down the field as a coach and as a player, and he gets to the 1, and he scores, right? And there's a penalty on it, or they mark it short of the goal line.
Okay.
I'm giving that running back the ball again. He's carried you down there.
Yes.
Challenge that defense to stop this dude.
Right.
You know what Nagy did?
No.
Quarterback sneak, lost 3 or lost 2 yards. Like, no, that's not the time. You just put your will onto them.
Right. Right.
Instead, you went to quarter. Then they got to get in shotgun, get cute, and throw it to Jimmy Graham. So David never got his second touchdown, which he deserved. He was destroying Arizona. It was clear they could. And again, it's just Nagy failures all over. And then the equipment failed again, Chris. And he's got the microphone. And I don't want to ruin Wednesday's show, but real quick, there's a point. Real quick, there's a point in this game, and Claudio the barber is going to show you and cut it out, I'm sure, that Andy Dalton is standing right here.
Okay.
Coach Nagy is me, right here. So Andy is the quarterback, right?
Right.
Nagy's got a walkie-talkie and his play sheet in front of the quarterback, and he's talking to the quarterback. I kid you not. I go, this guy's
my God.
It's the funniest. It was the only thing that made me laugh in this game, was watching Nagy be so overwhelmed as a head coach, play caller, everything. So, yeah, it wasn't fun to watch missed tackle after missed tackle, and then the execution. You know, Chris, you know, your execution isn't there. Your pride isn't there. So the fans weren't there. And again, some of them came. You heard the fire Nagy chant in the third quarter, and then they roughed the punter. So then they got a first down again because there was a misplaced timeout. And it's like, this is the biggest embarrassment. David Kaplan, I talked to him tonight. He called me tonight, and he's like, Phil, can you believe this? I go, it is the most embarrassed I've ever been. I have, you know, I live in New England country. They're prepared. They're going to perform tonight. Their rookie quarterback's out there making checks at the line. They're going to switch to play. No, Justin can't do that. There's no checks. Like, what are you teaching?
Well, so then I mean, do you think that rumor, or I mean, me and Cap talked about this. Okay, all right.
Tonight.
So what I was talking about was
there truth to it, right?
Exactly, right.
I believe, and I said this on BHL, and David agreed with me. What's that?
The guy's a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yes, I believe the
folks
rumor.
Who do that? They don't make shit up.
The rumor was not a rumor; it was real. And the McCaskies and Ted looked at the optics of the landscape, and
freaked out.
This is a family show, so they lost their gall, they lost their cojones, their pride, their strength, and they backpedaled on it, and they continued to drive a car without oil, and that's going to blow up the engine. And that's what you've done to this locker room and everybody in it. It is a travesty. So, and Cap agreed with me. He's like, I totally agree. They were going to do it. It leaked out, and they couldn't go through with it. They didn't want to own up to it. You know what someone does in that? There's no truth to this. They put it right out there. Instead, George is doing damage control with the team. Hey, guys, I know you haven't seen Flanders in a while, so I'm coming down here. Is everybody's Netflix accounts up to date? Whatever the heck. What is George doing? Have you ever seen any of the McCaskies come down and talk to the team? Ever?
Yeah. I mean,
yes?
Yeah.
When you were in the locker room.
That was 100 years ago, yeah. I mean,
Michael?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised, Michael. Did he have that velvet jacket he loved? Somebody wore it all.
Didn't have the velvet. But you know, he'd come out to practice and stuff like that. And
really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed then. Yeah. But as Shane said, they didn't want to own up to it, and they couldn't go through with it. That's again, like we said in the beginning, 101 years. 101 years. You haven't done something. And you can't have these Flanders around football. You just can't. You got to have real men of character.
There you go.
And I just don't see it with that situation, as well as how he taught. I mean, it was an embarrassment. You have to watch Nagy's presser where it, as Dave Kaplan said, are you kidding me? That's what you come out here and say? It's an embarrassment. It's like, get the chant going. It'll be stronger at Lambeau than it ever was, because those people, they're gonna actually want us to
I was gonna say they're gonna be like, keep Nagy. One side's gonna be keep Nagy. It's like, keep Nagy. It'll be like a college game.
Keep Nagy.
I guarantee you that they're gonna do that. Guaranteed. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had shirts that said keep Nagy.
Keep Nagy.
Oh my God. That is absolutely
exactly right. Brother Houston. It's like, Oakley dokley, guys. Everything's okay. We never said that. No one, like, they went to the team first. Don't you tell your fan base first? Come on.
I mean, or if it's something like that, which I've learned throughout my life, when you make mistakes, man, you got to own up to them.
Exactly.
You walk out there to the mic, which I've done before. I've done stupid stuff before, and I said, hey, I take full responsibility. My fault. I will not do it again. It was my mistake. And you move on. And however they can do that, I mean, they don't. It's tough, but for them to back it up, because again, I mean, it's not like this guy is going to like, hey, I heard from the maintenance guy that like they're gonna like he went to the garbage, shoot the garbage, and I found something that said, hey.
I found a fax.
Right.
There's still fax.
Right, exactly. Right. So I mean,
we're retrieving a fax.
I mean, a Pulitzer Prize winner isn't going to go off that. I'm assuming they're going to not even go one source, but maybe a couple sources just to verify it.
You felt like the first time in my lifetime that they were going to do the right thing and that change was going to come and you were going to get a jump on the coaching field and come up with a plan, because there's always a surprise. Mike Tomlin was a surprise. If you look back on history, they did that under the Rooney Rule. They gave this guy an interview and were so blown away by it. They're like, wait a second, we hire men that are leaders and have a plan. They made a great choice, right?
Amazing.
Our guys, we are going to hire Ernie Accorsi, who has maybe the worst hairpiece in the history of hairpieces. And he's a writer who's, he's a Hall of Fame. No, he's nobody. He's nobody that should be. You're the grandchildren of the guy that built this league.
Right. Exactly.
Come on. And you guys don't have connects to football people. You've got so many in the history. You could just pick up the phone and say, hey,
well, but
I know this is going to be hard to hear.
I mean, but I've said this before. I mean,
yeah,
as a coach in the NFL, I mean, assistant coach, whatever, you're looking at the Bears situation and you're like, you know what? I might wait for something else. And so when they call, do you take agent, hey, I'll take everyone's call except for the Bears. Hey, I'll take everybody's call except for X team.
The way they handled this, look at the past history, Chris.
Well, they botched Ron Rivera. They botched Dave McGinnis.
That's what I'm saying. Ron Rivera, Lovey fired him because Lovey didn't like him getting the attention. A lot of people get uncomfortable with that, but I verified this story with more than one. I fact-checked it. Lovey launched Rivera. They were having a great thing because much like Ditka and Buddy Ryan that didn't see eye to eye, Ron Rivera and Lovey didn't agree on some things where Ron was more aggressive than Lovey wanted to be. They got you to a Super Bowl. You broke up that unit. Come on. Lovey messed that up. I don't care what anybody tries to say. Then, like you said, the Dave McGinnis, you announced him that he was the head coach before you even signed the contract. You have a history of stupidity. So what's the common factor? The McCaskies, Ted Phillips, these are the common cores. So you gotta hire. I will throw my hat in the ring. Hire me. I will be the president and hire your coach. I'll interview them.
Well, but here's the thing. It's like,
You need someone that's going to say,
let's give it another try. You know what?
No.
Let's give it another try.
We've done Mark Trestman, Lovie Smith, Dick Duran, Dave Wannstedt. Let's go. You can't get it right. You look at, we did this with the Steelers.
I was going to say, I mean, don't just, I mean, it's
70 years.
I mean, okay, somebody out there who's listening, please, if you can, in the last 70 years, can you, because, and I only say this because I was watching a Bears-Packers game, and they put up on the screen the amount of quarterbacks that the Bears had during the time that Brett Favre was the quarterback. And it was like 30.
It was like 30.
Seriously. I mean, it was like literally like the list was like huge. And so it'd be so interesting to kind of go back and say, because the first, it was Chuck Noll, right? So you're talking about Chuck Noll, Cowher, and then
Mike Tomlin.
Okay, so if somebody could kind of take a look at that and list all of the Bears coaches, all the coaches the people that were head coaches for the Bears during that time, that'd be really interesting.
I'm sure
assuming probably about maybe 20, maybe 15, 2015.
I could think off my head. Abe Gibron.
I know, seriously. I mean, so when anyway, we are so getting off the topic. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we haven't even started the college. I went on a mini rant because Chris got me fired up again.
I apologize.
With this Bears situation. It's okay. You don't have to apologize.
Okay, thank you.
It's unfortunate. We got some new people in the chat.
Awesome.
That is a lot of people tonight jumping in every week. Chris Zorich, as he broke it down. Nancy Napoli.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
Big fan. Fan for life.
Hey.
Of you, Chris Zorich. So there you go. We got Noah Thomas in the house as well. A bunch of new fans.
All right, Noah,
that are here tonight to see us every Monday. You give the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. No bias. This is the final one. As everybody knows, they made their final rankings for the playoff games. The national championship comes down to 4. And you know what, Chris? I'll just say this before you jump into it.
Yes.
One little thing. I just feel like this is even more of a life lesson for me to say they got to open up this playoffs to at least 8 teams, because I just would like to see some other teams get involved in the matchups.
You just want to see more football. That's all. I mean, because it
what's wrong with more football?
That's very true. But like there were only like 5 games. I was like, there's still like 6 games. I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm watching one game at a time. I'm like, what is this? I'm watching 2 games. I mean, like, come on. I'm supposed to be watching like 4 or 8. I got my tablet there. Yeah, it was. And I'm kind
a lot of bowls, Chris.
It's kind of like going down. But yes, there are a lot of bowls. But
a lot of bowls.
I do want to thank, and I forgot to thank these folks in the beginning, but I'd like to thank the Football Writers Association of America and the National Football Foundation, both, because they're the folks who created the Super 16 poll about, I think, 2013 or 2014. And I am now a member of the Football Writers Association of America. So now I'm part of the media because I have the show. So watch out. And then I happen maybe involved in the National Football Foundation as a College Football Hall of Famer. But
look at you. Are you allowed to be on a show with me then? Are you gonna get upset?
Who's gonna get upset?
I don't know.
Because you're not part of the media? Because you're not a Football Writers Association of America?
No, because yes, I guess I'm not a writer. Are you a writer?
Okay, I'm not a writer.
I think you're a note taker, though.
You're a media person. Oh, you're trying to dog me on my notes. Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
No, you are a personality, and I got to say this.
But you're a part of the media.
The final, yes, I am a part of the media. In fact, I am the fans' media.
There you go.
I'm the guy that people want to hear the truth from. Same with my partner Shane. They come to hear it spoken truthfully.
So that sounds like the truth never is that
the tape never lies, right?
There you go.
You get the truth from the tape.
I love it.
We're going to be breaking it all down. Chris Zorich his top 16. We're going to get into the national championship. Everything coming together. Here's your former teammate, Lemuel Stinson.
Lemuel.
We got to fix his
Lemonhead, his Facebook user.
Yeah, he's got Facebook user.
Thank you, Lemuel. Thank you very much.
We got to get Lemuel on the show. I know he's fired up. Texas Tech, but they might have a coach.
A few things. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about coaches. One more time, just want to let people know that this is the last show of the Super 16 poll show. However, we are going to have a bowl preview show on December 13th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then the following Monday, we're going to have one on January 3rd. That's going to talk about all the bowl games and then give you a little pre-bowl to the exciting national championship game that's going to be on January 10th. And then, oh, but wait, there's more.
Sham Wow.
Exactly.
Wow Bowl.
You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He had a crazy situation. Anyway, you remember that? Yeah.
I don't know the situation.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's an after show.
There you go. So on January 10th, we are going to do a live pre-show
before the bowl game, before the national championship,
before the national championship game, and then we're encourage folks to tune in after the show because. But wait, there's more. We're going to have a post-game show. It's going to be NCHL, right?
Yeah.
Wait.
National Championship Hour
Live, right. We're going to make a logo for that.
We'll make something. Ron G. Totally will make something for that.
Awesome, incredible Ron G. Will definitely
Ron G. Shout out to Ron G. We'll make something. We'll break down the national championship, whoever it's going to be, and we'll break down the whole game with you, the fans, going over what transpired, what we thought, who we thought performed, was there officiating issue, all of it. So mark it down. We'll be reminding you as we go. Now let's get into tonight's. You got something else?
Yes. I just wanted to mention that one of the members of the TTNL family lost a loved one. I know you mentioned it on your other shows. I wanted to mention Cherie and just to let her know that we're all thinking about her. It's really tough when you lose a family member, especially on the holidays. So if y'all can just kind of make sure you guys just keep her in your prayers, that'd be cool.
Look at you. You're such a nice guy. I know she's very happy about this guy, though. Talk about
a little bit. I think she is a little bit happy about the Michigan team. I don't know.
Exactly.
And our boy Rick, Chris. Of course, Rick, Rick. He's pumped.
Rick has got to be pumped.
Wait,
I'm fired up.
We're talking. We didn't have a show. I mean, we're like, what are we? We're like 30 minutes into.
30 minutes in. We haven't even. Let's go through these quick.
Yes. All right. How about let's take a. Do we have last week's? We have week 13.
Oh yes, we do. Hold on.
I
got to scroll up.
Sorry.
Here we go. Last week's poll: Texas A&M, Pittsburgh at number 15. 14 was Wake Forest. 13 Oklahoma. Dun, 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 dun. My boy Dante Jones. Number 12 BYU. Little Ty Detmer. 11 Michigan State. Number 10 was Oregon, the Ducks. Number 9 was Baylor, the Bears. Number 8, Ohio State, the Ohio State. Number 7, Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss. He got an extension, Chris. Number 6, Notre Dame. They got a new coach. They got a new vibe, a new energy. I say it's going to be better. Number 5, Cincinnati. I thought he was going to be the coach. That was going to be my money.
Yes.
It switched up. Number 4, Oklahoma State. Number 3, Nick Saban's Alabama. And number 2, Jimmy Harbaugh, former Bear teammate of Chris Zorich, Michigan. And number 1 was Georgia. What happened, Georgia?
I was going to say, things happen real quick in like 1 week.
Real quick.
And not even so much the games, but coaches. I mean, how many coaching changes has there been in like the last 48 hours? It's insane.
It's like a new cast. Holy cow.
All
The
right.
Real World. They came in with a new cast. Holy cow. It just stopped moving. Here we go. Lunch with Phil. A lot different. Okay. I don't know what's going on here.
All right.
Chris Zorich, we're going to go right through them and get to the meat of the bone.
Jason, thanks for giving Sheree a shout out. That's pretty cool. All right.
Sheree is the best.
Number 16.
Number 16.
Number 16, Oregon.
Oh, my Lord. What happened? I mean, the wheels just came off, dude. Now that they don't even have a coach.
Coach.
I mean, who had that? What happened to Oregon and that Phil Knight money? Miami? Their facilities aren't even half as good. And
he's bouncing to Miami, bro.
Now, I do have to say, I mean, I've had a chance to spend some time with him, a little bit of time. Really good guy. Actually played against him when I was in college. He actually played at the University of Miami. He was assistant coach there. You know, kind of went around the circuit and eventually ended up at Oregon being the man. And
right.
He spent some time in Alabama with Nick.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now he bounced to Miami. But my comment is it's crazy because they dropped 6 spots to 16 after losing to a Utah team that, I mean, they're pretty good. But I don't think they were that good. And they actually just kind of blew them out 38 to 10. And I thought this is kind of going to be their redemption game.
Utah is one of the best coached football team defensively in the country every year. That's a great football coach up there. Every time I watch them, they just tackle.
That's Kyle Whittingham, right?
Yeah, he's just tremendous.
I didn't realize he's been there for like 17 years. So they had this graphic up. Like the longest tenured coaches is Kirk Ferentz, my guy, the mullet guy, the dude at Oklahoma State, who's mullet. He has the mullet.
Oh, the coach.
Yes.
Oh my God, I just lost his name.
Yes.
Gundy.
Yes, Mike Gundy. And then you got him. Kyle. I mean that's crazy, man. That's really interesting.
You were an idol of Vito.
Vito. That's awesome, man. Thanks.
Vito, his dad's been sick.
Oh.
So we give you a shout. Hope your dad's doing better with the COVID. Vito is one of the big TTNL super fan supporters.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you for
the only other thing I wanted to say about this coach from Oregon to add to your fire here is that Miami is such the hotbed Florida football talent. So you get in there and you get a culture led by someone that's played there, coached there before.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you could get the right ingredients for a big turnaround. And you, of all people, you were in that Catholics versus convicts.
Absolutely.
So,
but what's changed though is that, I mean, and I've been doing a lot of research on this issue because I'm a huge fan, obviously, of college football, but they're having some issues. Half of the board wanted Manny Diaz, who's the current coach, the current coach. The other half wanted Mario Cristobal. They couldn't even choose an AD. Former players were involved. No one wanted the former players involved. 2 former players interviewed for the AD position. I mean, it was like literally it was chaos. And all this was probably because Miami loves their football. And so why not, right? And so it's really transparent. And it's just kind of chaos down there to the point where, I mean, I was thinking, would you even want to go in a system like that? I mean, it's just kind of crazy. But the athletic director at, I want to say the semi-current athletic director at Clemson, he interviewed with Miami, but then he had a conversation with Mario before he went to Miami. He had the interview. So there's probably something going on there where they'll probably soon be announcing that Dan Radakovich, the athletic director at Clemson, is probably going to be the athletic director at Miami now.
Well, there you go. That's breaking news here.
No, I don't know if it's breaking news, but I read it like 2 days ago, so it's kind of
breaking news. It's breaking for me.
Well, okay. Right.
Thank you. Keep me up.
By the way, something happened in South Bend a couple of days ago. So
Anyway, I knew that right away.
Let's do Oregon. So Oregon is going to be playing in the Alamo Bowl against Oklahoma, which we will be previewing on December 13th. So let's move
next Monday.
Yes, let's move to 15.
Number 15, Texas A&M.
And this is so interesting because, we don't have a lot of teams to talk about, a lot of details, but I mean, this was really a surprising team after they beat Alabama. After losing 2 games, they turned around and beat Alabama, which no one had ever done before. So this is the first, Jimbo Fisher is the first assistant coach that ever beat Nick Saban, and their season wound up not being that great. I mean, 8-4, I think they're like 4th or 3rd in the West. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
It's surprising.
It is. And they beat Alabama. That's the big
that's literally what they're going to hang the season on. So,
well, that is part of my rant on why Michigan should be number 1, because Michigan lost to, at the time, a number 2 or number 3 Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
And they were 5, whatever it was.
Right.
They were in the top. So I thought Michigan deserved to be number 1 going into this championship, playing Cincinnati and having to repeat Alabama, Georgia. That should have been the way this thing played out based on where these losses were, when in the season, everything we do here and what you've talked and preached about. I felt Michigan deserved to be number 1, got screwed over again by this.
Wait. I'm sorry. We on Michigan already? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying Texas A&M was my rationale. That were they ranked when they beat? Because they had 2 losses when they beat Alabama. So
yes, I remember. I'm
going by that,
yes,
they beat Georgia, who's number 1, but that shouldn't leapfrog number 2 Michigan. It's ridiculous, in my opinion.
Wait, are we at number 2? Okay, we are at number 2. Okay,
I'm sorry.
Sure. All right,
I got fired up for a minute.
Yes, you did.
Texas
it was like a flash. Like All right. So they're going to the Gator Bowl and they'll be playing Wake Forest, which is interesting. Okay, so let's move to number 14.
Who let us down, Chris? They did not end that season well. Wake Forest.
Number 14. Oklahoma.
This is interesting. After losing the Bedlam to Oklahoma State, they wound up finishing the season at 10-2, and they will be playing in the Alamo Bowl against Oregon, which again, no coach. So I wonder how that game is going to kind of pan out. And as we've seen, it'll be interesting to see what assistants go. And this is kind of the frustrating part, with these young men. I mean, who's going to be the coach at Oregon? And when you leave, what happens, right? So let's also talk about Oklahoma's team. They lost their head coach. Well, I shouldn't say lost. He skipped town to get a crazy contract. That was Lincoln Riley went to USC. So now literally you have kind of this is going to be the Alamo Bowl is the bowl with no coaches, because Oklahoma just hired Venerable from Clemson, the D coordinator from there.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to take over, right? Or if he is, what is he going to put in? Going to put in like one defense? I mean, it's going to be tough. So literally, this is the bowl with no coaches because Oregon's coach left and Oklahoma's coach left. So the Alamo Bowl. But I can't wait to talk about it. But, let's move on to 13.
Number 13, Utah.
Okay, where has Utah been? I mean, this is their first time. This is their debut in the Super 16 on the last week. That's very interesting. They beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, 38-10, as I said before. We were just talking about him, Kyle Whittingham. Done amazingly well at Utah, and they've had some challenges. I believe they lost 2 players. Phil, do you remember? wound up losing, like literally, like unfortunately, two of their players passed away. So
yeah,
this is, this is just an amazing year. And I think after was watching the game, and they were interviewing the coach, and he wound up getting emotional.
right.
And when you talk about kind of where they've been, what they've had to do, all the chaos that's been going on, but I mean, mainly losing kind of members of your program, especially kids, and then having the chance to kind of work through that and, achieve a goal that they have.
Exactly.
It's one of those things where it's like, you show me adversity and, I'll show you someone, or I'll show you people who are going to work hard, because we all know that hard work builds character. And, this team is probably going to go down as probably one of his favorite teams of all time because of all the adversity they had to face in the beginning.
And those things go unnoticed by the college football committees and blog boy writers. They don't understand the kind of turmoil that creates on young men. And just like in a family, it would create, it's the same thing with football. If you have a great cohesive unit and you have great leadership, like I said, this coach at Utah, fundamentally, every time I watch them or scouted their talent, you come away like, wow, these guys play fundamentally sound football. And for them to deal with that kind of adversity, win these games, and turn around the season the way they did, it says a lot about the coaching staff and those kids and the captains and leaders. They're not rotating captains there, I'm sure. I'm sure of that.
But and then when you think about it, he's obviously had success. He's been there for I think 17 years, they said, or 13 years, something like that. I mean, that's a pretty long time. I mean, that's amazing. And exactly. So for you to be in a place that long, I mean, that means you're actually doing well. So they will be playing Ohio State, which I think is going to be a great matchup in the Rose Bowl, which is interesting because it's the first time that in a while that Ohio State has not competed for the national championship. So let's move on to number 12.
Number 12, Pittsburgh.
Okay, these guys moved up 3 spots to 12 after beating a great, I want to say great because this is their dream season, Wake Forest team in the ACC championship game. I guarantee you, had we asked or took a poll and said, hey, Pittsburgh is going to be playing Wake Forest for the ACC championship, people would have thought we were nuts.
Yes.
Absolutely nuts.
Totally,
but when you think about how the season turned out for Wake Forest, again, this was Wake Forest's dream season. I'm absolutely amazing, and great for them. They had a chance to, as we said before, kind of see how the big boys play and how this will kind of affect their team in the future, and having a chance to play against the big guys. And now seeing what it takes in order to sustain that is going to be one of their goals, obviously.
Yeah, for me, it ended disappointing fashion because you would have hoped that they would have won the ACC and beaten Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. But it was a great season, but I think that they, looking in the mirror, would say the same thing, that you want to finish it out and stake that claim to the division, the conference rather, and they didn't do it. So how do you feel about Pittsburgh, though?
I'm actually excited. I mean, they were 10-2. They weren't ranked with me early because the competition, unfortunately, in the ACC wasn't that great.
Right.
And as we saw in Phil, we kind of talked about this, when we looked at, even our top 8, top 10, there were 2 Power 5 conferences that didn't have a rep in the top in our top 10. You talk about the Pac-12 and the ACC. I mean, what does that mean in the larger scale? And everybody's talking about, hey, we finally have a group of 5 team get into the Final Four with the College Football Playoff Committee's ranking. But what the ACC and Pac-12, they were nowhere to be found.
Exactly. This is the thing. The dynamic of conference, because I saw the best conference, SEC. Well, hold up a second here. Big Ten has showed you how well they've played with Ohio State and Michigan State and everybody. Just like we just get looped into this because of greatness from Alabama and Georgia sometimes. So every year, these conferences, I would have said, in my opinion, the toughest conference this year was the Big Ten, in my opinion. Again, every year it seems to be the SEC has that praise, and I get it. I don't have any bias towards it. I'm just looking at it this year. I thought the Big Ten was a better conference, but now as the season ends, Super 16 polls show where are these teams going to be ranked in the SEC. How many? Let's see. You got one SEC team that you've announced so far. So that's Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we'll see how they go. But the reality is this football team is led by a possible Heisman winner, Chris, a kid from Pittsburgh. And somebody asked, and I wanted your opinion on the no slide. Did you see that? The fake slide? You didn't see this play? I saw it. So the quarterback's running.
Right.
And the safety's coming up from an angle and the corner's coming. He pretends like he's going to slide.
Right.
And then he slow down and then he takes off.
Are you serious?
Yes. Wow. Maybe we could send Cherie a little clip of that and we could upload it.
See, that would be interesting because now, like, and I guarantee when that happened, the announcers didn't throw it to New York and say, hey, how did you guys feel about, should that have been a penalty? Because, and we've kind of talked about this before with the refs. I mean, you do something like that, and it's like, really? I mean, the whole purpose is you're trying to save quarterback. So now, if he
he's using
the slide, now I'm gonna go hit him, and now I'm gonna get a penalty, right? Because he actually went down like 3 inches more to actually do the slide.
Now this is the argument, and I saw your former teammate, Oklahoma All-American Dante Jones, middle linebacker, talk about this, and he was showing a clip of one of the Cowboys quarterbacks sliding down and him hitting him and getting a penalty. But he's saying what you're saying. I don't know that he's not going to slide, so I have to make sure he's down. And listen, as a coach, I would stay up all night thinking of ways to glitch a play, a way to get an advantage.
Right.
This is a kid throwing what he did in the street into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you applaud it. But then because it goes over the context of the rule, there has to be some sort of condition. Are they going to now say if he makes a motion to slide, he is down there? How are they going to handle this? This is a great conversation we should have during the offseason because it's true.
And I think something where you have to take the defensive player into account as well, right? Because if he goes to make that motion, then all of a sudden, okay, hey, it's considered a slide, and then the guy gets hit. Like early in the process, are you going to give a penalty? Or should you inflict a penalty on the offensive player who decides they want to be sneaky and fake a slide and then boom, pop up and, hey, I got an extra 5 yards? Because I guarantee you, those guys like, all right, man, watch. Next time you try to slide, watch.
Exactly. That's where our fans are coming. I know he's saying an inappropriate word, Dave.
Thank you very much, my draft Dr. Phil, on the crack producing. That's great to get that.
I didn't see it.
Okay, so Pittsburgh will be playing against Michigan in the Peach Bowl, which I think should be a really, really good matchup. So let's move on to number 11.
Number 11, BYU.
Now, I'm a little shocked on these guys because, I know that 2 weeks ago we were talking about possibly the J1 Bowl for them. They're now down to the Independence Bowl playing UAB. Wow, that was a huge fall from grace. I mean, because they were in the. I mean, they were. Oh, excuse me. They moved up one.
From number 3 to
Right.
UAB.
Hey. Wow. But I mean, and no offense to UAB, but I mean, they're
ain't in the Super 16 poll show.
Hey. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is a weird matchup.
That's going to be. I think it's going to be 2 years before they go into the Big 12. So this is not going to help them prepare, but they'll have a chance to have a 11-2 season going into next year. And then I think one of the games next year is going to be in Vegas against that team that may be ranked number 5. I have no idea. But I think it's going to be exciting for BYU because they tend to have a little bit more mature talent because all those guys go on a I don't want to mess this up. They go on now. It's not a sabbatical, but they go on like a little kind of journey for a year.
They go on their mission.
Yes.
Go on their Mormon mission.
Speaking about Mormons, I did not plan on bringing this up, but I mean, did you happen to see the play? What am I thinking of? Mormon? Help me out, somebody. The play.
The play?
I was about to say
Broadway play?
Yes, I was about to say Attack of the Mormons.
I took Steph to see that
last
birthday.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
It was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Somebody help me out here. Mormon.
Shout out to my boy Jim Larison. Is it the Book of Mormon?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you very much.
Look, Chris Zorich even typed it to himself. Look at this.
Look at that. You have no idea how many arms I got going on. You have no idea what I'm doing up here. How about the See?
Steph and I loved it. So worth it. If you can get to New York City.
Check it out. And it's really controversial. Obviously, I don't think a lot of BYU folks like it, but it's
a lot of controversy.
Yes, it is great. First time I saw it twice. First time I saw it,
it's like a Broadway play version of South Park talking about Mormon.
Exactly.
That's
absolutely because the first one I was like, huh? Like I was like, whoa! But
exactly.
Y'all will know.
But the way they do the stage and everything, Chris, it was like, oh my God, this is phenomenal.
It was great. It was great. All right, folks. I'm sorry, we still got off. Okay, so again, Independence Bowl UAB, kind of shocked that they're not in a little bit better bowl, but we will definitely address that next week. Okay, so let's go to number 10.
Number 10, Michigan State University.
These guys finished 10-2. I mean, really had an unbelievable year to the point where their coach probably started the trend of this $95 million plus contracts that are going out because, hey, if Mel Tucker gets it, then next coach is, hey, I need to get that too, and started this kind of snowball effect where like everybody like, hey, you get 100 million, you get 100, you get. I mean, everybody gets 100 million now. So I think it's going to be exciting for folks. I think this is really going to be a good matchup in the Peach Bowl for Pittsburgh. I kind of feel I don't know if our guy Walker the third, the running back there for Michigan. I don't think he might not get an invite to New York for the Heisman. So I think that the game against Purdue and then the other game they lost really kind of did not allow that to happen. So, but I think it will be an exciting game. Let's move to number 9.
Number 9, Oklahoma State.
All right, Phil, these guys are a big shock to me. They dropped 5 spots to number 6. I mean, I had them top 5. I mean, they were really working on it for me. I don't know if you saw this game.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible. Like
what an ending.
I mean, when you talk about excitement, I don't care. I'm not a huge Big 12 fan. That game, it was one of the most exciting games. I mean, it was awesome. And to think like literally the whole game, I mean, the bowl championship, I mean, everything came down to literally inches. And it's just, and I hate to do this because folks who never played the game don't understand this, but, you know, please do not blame the running back for not being able to get those extra inches, okay? There's no way. I mean, this guy's given 1,000,000%. He wants to score. Okay?
Right.
And so, it's one of those things where it's like if a kicker misses a field goal at the last minute, last couple seconds, loses the game. Look, it's not the kicker's fault. There were 80 other plays in the game that people didn't block or somebody.
Well, I always blame the kicker, Chris. He's got one job to do. I'm sorry.
Well, I have a buddy.
Running back, I agree with you here.
I have a buddy his name was Keith Jones. He was he was a kicker. At Eastern Illinois, my guy. Yep. And he kind of gave me some new light on the whole kicking thing, and now I believe that they are athletes and everything else. But, please don't blame this kid because, it's one of those situations where he's going to remember that for the rest of his life. So if I could only had, 3 or 4 more inches left, I'd have been fine. But then you got to think about, and I don't know the guy's name.
But also the defender.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say that. Right, exactly. He made effort. Are you kidding me? He made a great play. And it was like I saw it in slow motion, like it was happening. Exactly. And I was like, and at first I didn't think he had a good angle. And I was
Neither did I.
He's not going to make it. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God. And the reference, it was so cool because the pylon camera.
It was like a movie.
Actually, the pylon camera was right there. And you saw it. It didn't even move. It didn't even move or anything. And it was like, all this chaos over here. It was just like looking. You're like, whoa, okay, didn't happen.
That kid was in tears on the sideline. I can't even imagine being him on that. And I agree with Chris 100%. That kid poured his heart into getting there. It's just this is why this game is so great. And getting back to the Bears, there's a play in Chicago versus Arizona where the quarterback Murray is running to the cone just like this, and our cornerback Jalen Johnson's running, and he just lets up and lets him score. And it's the exact kind of scenario. And that's the reality, Chris. That's why it's so disappointing, where you get maximum effort all the time, each and every down. That is on the coach.
Oh,
Absolutely. If Ditka caught you letting a guy run into the end zone when you had an angle and a possible shot to maybe knock him out, knock the ball loose, anything could happen in football.
Anything. As you saw with, I'm sorry, yes, yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, and we've seen that. We've seen receivers or sometimes folks who, recover fumble. Was it Leon Lett? I mean, goes down there and kind of handles the ball loosely, or the times when they think they're over the end zone and they're dropping the ball and all of a sudden somebody gets down and grabs it. That's hey, you have to go. I'm sorry, so I'm getting a little fired up there. But again, I mean, please don't blame that kid. They were both trying 100%. Oklahoma State's happened to be playing Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. Who knew that? So we will definitely talk about that in a little bit after we finish the Super 16 poll. So let's move to number 8.
Number 8, Ohio State.
I'm sure they're still talking about this game at Ohio State, and I'm not talking about the Rose Bowl that's coming up for them. I'm talking about the Michigan game. I mean, that was a game for the ages, and it's so interesting how tides can turn. And I mean, speaking about Harbaugh, I mean, a lot of folks should remember that. I mean, he was asked to actually take a pay cut before the season started.
Right. That's why I said there's an opportunity for him, Chris, to come to the Bears.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I'm him, I'm going, hey, Mr. AD, hello, are you there?
He's holding up that national championship trophy, and he's like,
"Look, you want one of these? I know a guy.
Hire Ted Phillips. Here I come." And
so, I really hope the best. Oh, and then hold on. Talk about class. So not only
God.
Thank you. Exactly.
I know where you're going.
2 things. Not only does Harbaugh give the bonuses that the coaches receive for getting into, I think it was winning the Big Ten, I think.
Yes, winning the Big Ten.
Right. He. I don't know about other guys, but
his conference, the West. What is it? East. He's in the East.
Yeah.
So he won that. He got the bonus, gave it to them. Then for winning the Big Ten championship, he gave the bonus back. And then if they win the national championship, he's given his bonus back as well.
And these are employees that were affected by the whole COVID situation at University of Michigan. So these are folks who lost their jobs. Folks
Brian Kelly giving anything back?
Who?
Exactly.
Oh, I got a video for you guys. I cannot wait to show you guys this video. It's awesome. Anyway, so all right, that's the first. But okay, hold on. Let me give you my Jim Harbaugh rant. Okay. This guy. I'm gonna wait till we get on Michigan.
Let's get to Michigan. Yes, Ohio State.
Okay. Yes, Ohio State. They're playing Utah in the Rose Bowl. We're done. Sorry, Ohio State. Okay, let's move on to number 7.
Number 6, Baylor. Number 7, Ole Miss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hey, man, this is how we roll. This is what we do. I got a little fired up with Jim Harbaugh. So, Ole Miss sitting at the house. Okay, y'all, do y'all know who? I mean, we're talking about Lane Kiffin. We're talking about a guy who was snubbed, guy who people made fun of him leaving Nick Saban and going and taking the FAU job, Florida Atlantic job. Went there for 2 years. They're like, hey, he's done. Probably will never get back to a bigger program. Group of 5, not even SEC, but I don't think he's going to be getting a group of 5. Did his magic, and guess what? He's getting an extension. Okay, hello, this is the same guy that they were burning mattresses when he said he was leaving Tennessee. Love the passer for Tennessee, by the way. But again, so this guy now, I think he's second in the West with Alabama. So the idea that a Lane Kiffin or a Nick Saban protege, Lane Kiffin, so young, is actually making a name for himself in the SEC. When we just saw folks like Dan Mullen get fired from the SEC at Florida. So what does that tell you? So let's talk about, they're going to be playing Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. I think it's going to be a great matchup. Kind of excited to watch that. So let's move on to, what number was that, Phil?
Number 6, Baylor.
And they happen to be playing Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl.
Did it on purpose, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Kind of keep me on my toes, right? So how about this story? I mean, this guy, the head coach of Baylor, has been there for 2 years, was an assistant, had an opportunity to become a head coach. Second year, wins the Big 12 championship. How cool is that, right?
Exactly.
Has a chance to now compete against the SEC, the second SEC champion, which it's kind of a domino effect. If you don't go to play on the CFP, you'll have a chance to represent the SEC in the championship bowl, which is what they're doing for the Sugar Bowl. Had a great game against Oklahoma State, literally shut them down. I thought that Oklahoma State was a better team. Baylor proved them definitely wrong, which was great to kind of see. So the excitement for this game is going to be there. I think Ole Miss playing the Sugar Bowl is going to be fun. So let's move to that great team we see at number 5.
Number 5, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. So I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I'm going to talk about it a little after. I just want to show you that I'm happy to be representing Notre Dame now, for representing here and my national championship ring. But we will get on to that. So I will talk about Notre Dame later. So let's move to number 4.
Notre Dame.
Was that really quick?
The echoes in the same. From the thunder sky.
Number 4, Cincinnati.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little fired up there. Sorry about that. Let's look at Cincinnati. So, one of my friends from high school, one of my best friends, all year has been accusing me that I have this bias against Cincinnati. And weeks ago, he said, Chris, they're going to be in the Final Four. I was like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way they're going to run into Notre Dame. That didn't happen. He was like, see, I told you. Then all of a sudden, anyway, to make a long story short, he was absolutely right. I didn't put them in my Final Four, obviously, for that reason. But they won the AAC. Yep. And they beat Houston handedly, who everybody thought wasn't going to happen. And I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon yet, but they have a great opportunity. They're the first Group of 5 team in the college football playoff rankings. In the Final Four, they're going to play a team. I don't know if I want to, like, my first foray into the college football playoff system is going to be against Alabama. And it's in the Cotton Bowl. It's so interesting because I was watching kind of the over, I think it was like 8 to 10 hours of college football bowl stuff they were talking about. And they were talking about how Cincinnati is representing kind of years of frustration for the smaller schools to kind of get in. And they were really kind of pumping up how everybody's excited to kind of see how Cincinnati's defense is going to do against Alabama and really, I mean, okay. So, I mean, are we really? I mean, are we really doing this? Like, I mean, are we trying to sell a game, or are we being? I mean, are we being honest? Like, and so they're saying, well, you know, Nick Saban's going to have a hard time because what? Like, I mean, are you saying that Cincinnati, who, let's see the strength of schedule. Let's see their schedule. Okay, so I made a comment after Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati, and I said that Luke Fickell was a great coach. And the reason why was because he took local 2 or 3-star kids, okay, regional kids who didn't go to Ohio State, kids who didn't go to Michigan. They went to Cincinnati and put them together, put a great team together, great game plan, and beat the crap out of Notre Dame, who had 5-star kid, who had some 4 stars, great players. And I made another comment. People who thought I was nuts. I said that that Notre Dame's second unit should have been able to beat Cincinnati. Chris, why would you say, wait, hold on. Again, when my buddy Marlon always talks about this. Teams in college should play teams who they recruit the same kids. That's only fair. That's what you see in the SEC, right? Everybody's going after the same kids in the SEC. Well, when you think about the matchup between Notre Dame and Cincinnati, I mean, that's totally different recruiting. You have, again, kids who didn't go to Miami, kids who didn't go to Miami, Ohio, kids who didn't go to Ohio State, Michigan. They're going to Cincinnati.
Toledo.
And Toledo Rockets, maybe? Is that it? Or Toledo somebody's? But
I think they're the Rockets.
Okay.
Let me double check for you.
Thank you, sir. So the idea that Luke Fickell did a phenomenal job. But it's interesting how the sportscasters and
Rockets is correct.
There you go. Hey. And I talked about this when Cincinnati played Tulsa, and game day went to Cincinnati, and they were pumping up the game because they were there.
Right.
I don't know who else was playing, but so you bring the whole stage. You bring everything. You bring Lee Clark. You bring everything. You bring the hell. You bring everything.
And they struggled
to play a team that won like 3 or 4 games. Bro, this team's undefeated. Like, is that fair, right? And so again, there's this huge bias around there. Oh well, Cincinnati, blah blah blah. Really, guys? I mean,
Cincinnati beats Alabama. They've set their tone for what it is that they are, in my opinion. They beat Notre Dame, which was a huge win. You talked about it here immensely. This is a great coach. This is now you are they're going to be the biggest spread. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how this transpires, in my opinion, Cincinnati is going to be the underdog, obviously. So
well, but it's
not just in Vegas, but in our minds. Do you give Cincinnati a shot to win this? Do you feel confident?
How about I save that for our show next Monday?
That's what I love about you. You're learning,
intriguing.
Teaser.
Come back next Monday, and we'll
be
have
talking about it all next Monday
on the Super 16
Bowl Show.
There you go. See? Thank you for that.
Change it to the Bowl Show next Monday night, breaking down every bowl, talking about it.
So we actually happened. You can just kind of roll through 4 because we talked about both Cincinnati and I'm sorry, we were on number 4.
We're on 4. So you want number 3?
Yes.
Number 3, Georgia.
Woo, Lordy, did you watch this game?
Oh yeah.
My Lord.
I was not expecting.
There were some men out. There were some men out there. They said Alabama 10 nothing. 10 nothing. Hey, this game is gonna be over.
Oh,
then Nick was like, well, wait a minute, hold up now. So here's this. So I bragged on Georgia's defense. And I still think they're awesome.
Right.
At the end, at the last, when they beat Georgia Tech, which they shut out, I think they averaged, their defense allowed 7 points a game. That's unheard of in college.
That why means, you were bragging about them.
That means the second unit that was out there was balling. Right?
Exactly.
Everybody was balling. Their standard, everybody else's standard is here.
Balling.
That was really good. Everybody's standard is here. Dude, Georgia's defense standard is here. And that's the damn second unit, right? So, balling. So I'm thinking, and my boy Rick, again, who's the Michigan fan, he sent me a text. He's like, dude, I think, and this was when Alabama, I think, would score their first touchdown. He's like, man, I'm thinking Alabama's going to win this. I was like, you're crazy. Lordy.
Rick was right. Hey, Lordy. My wife turned 40.
Hey,
and so did Georgia. I mean, Chris, that, like I texted you, Nick Saban turned this into a street fight. And that was the difference, because Alabama was like, no, this ain't like West Side Story with Steven Spielberg. This is like a street fight with like the Warriors. Remember? Warriors come out and play. That's what happened there. I mean, me and you, I was like, this dude, I know Shane's sending me some stat, 31 on Alabama.
Okay, but
oh my, Will Anderson Jr.
How about this? We're talking about 41 points. Okay, so now they're averaging 7 points.
Thank you, Chris.
Bryce Young had, I think he had like 500 points or 500 yards.
Oh my God.
He had 3-something in the first half.
That 90-something yard drive set the whole tone of the game.
Here's the thing, you'll love this.
That
offensive lineman, right? You had the dude, men on defense.
Oh my God.
Men's, right? I mean, just huge ballers, huge guys.
Everybody's going pro. It was like Oprah was like, the GM, you're going pro. You're going pro. You're going pro.
Dude, right? So, I mean, the second team guy is going pro, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Alabama, dude, and then, you know, we see Alabama in the Iron Bowl. They barely win that. And their offense, they allowed like 7 sacks. What the hell did Nick do from the end of the Iron Bowl until that?
It's like the dude, I can't remember his name, from CBS, the pre-game show. I forget what his name is, but he said it. He's like, wait a second now. I know Georgia's undefeated, but Alabama's only lost one game. And Nick has something to prove. I mean, Nick has been the definition of consistency. You and I have talked about the importance of coaching. Now, when I first started on Twitter years ago, which I got off of Twitter, I was telling people back then, all these nerds were talking, coaches don't matter, players matter. No, it's the other way around. And Nick is proving that you can have all the talent in the world. As Chris is saying, can you beat Cincinnati? You have all this talent. Why didn't you beat Cincinnati?
Right.
Alabama's got loads of talent. And then he motivated them, preached to them that you're the underdogs. They're talking crap about you.
Wait a minute.
You guys stink.
Here's quote.
And then he went after the media. Yeah, exactly.
Great. We loved it. It was yummy.
This is the anti-Matt Nagy right there. Like, you guys, you hold everybody accountable. What did you say? What did you say about us last week? I don't want to hear Kyle Brandt talk about it. I want to hear my head coach, like your boy, Ditka. Hey, buddy, see this? This is your IQ, buddy. That's what I want to see. That's what Saban brings to the table. His players play. It was a street fight. It was an amazing game. I did not expect it. I'll be the first one. I really thought Georgia would have won that game.
I mean, but they were underdogs. Alabama were the underdogs for the first time in like I think 15, 16 years, 12 years or something like that. I mean, the idea that they took the best team, I mean, hands down, everybody said, hey, and it was great because when Alabama lost, everybody was like, yes, finally Nick is going down. Georgia's now is number one.
The evil empire.
Exactly. And we saw, what did Georgia do? They dominated. They dominated folks.
Yes.
And so we're like,
dominated. They didn't even let people score touchdowns.
Thank you. Hello?
Anybody.
Nobody. In the second unit. Second unit didn't allow folks to do it.
We're going for shutouts here. We're holding people to field goals.
But, and I sent you a text on this one, Phil.
Yes,
so our guy, 99.
He was loafing, Chris.
A couple of times, my man was like,
looking for the oxygen tank.
It was like,
my boy.
I mean, dude, hey, man. And they knew that. What did they want? They literally ran at him.
Scouted.
Hey, man.
They knew this is how we're going to attack. We're going to run outside zone. We're going to run we're going to run bubble.
Because he's on there first 2 days. If we keep him on the field, guess what? That third play, he's not used to that.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden,
strategy played a role. A game plan, Chris.
Who would have thought? Those before? How about that? How about that, maybe? So, needless to say, obviously, from the excitement that you hear in our voices, I mean, the SEC championship did not disappoint this year.
No.
I mean, it was, and literally, it always is. And I think that's one of the premier games. And Nick said it. I don't think he said it this week. He said it before, but like 9 times out of 10, I mean, literally, if there's a national championship game, it goes through the SEC.
Yeah.
And then another stat I saw, if Alabama wins this national championship game this year, not that he did last year, but they said that ever since he got to Alabama, and every 4 years or every 3 years, whatever it was, each class, since he started at Alabama, has won a national championship. I mean, if that you even recruit at that point, and you say, look, young man, hold on. So I can guarantee you in 4 years.
Right.
Now, you're a 5-star guy. You have to sit down. They may have to sit down 2 years, but you know, look what happened with someone. Look at that. And you can just go down the line. I mean, it's just, and I'm gushing over this because one, I'm a huge Nick Saban fan. I mean, folks know that, and I get shit for it sometimes. But this game proved that he knows what the hell he's doing, and obviously we saw that he's not invincible this year. mean, he didn't want to lose that game against Texas A&M.
He almost lost to Auburn the week before
on.
in the Iron Bowl. It went down to conversion.
Was that the last? I mean, that was
the first time it ever. The first time it ever went into overtime.
Well, but was it fourth down
on the Iron Bowl?
Yeah.
It was in conversions.
Okay.
It was in conversions.
Oh, right. I mean,
because they had to go to the third overtime.
Yeah,
start going 2 points.
It was
four. Excuse me.
But come on, I mean,
yeah, and to be that prepared for Georgia, where you just went into a street fight, it's like, hey, listen, I'll say this. I don't think I've ever said it. The team is a reflection of the head coach. It always is like that in football. No other sport. You can have one dominant player in basketball or soccer, volleyball, throw a sport, a team sport out there, baseball, football. Sure. We can scheme to stop Barry Sanders. We can. He was tremendous. We could scheme to stop Walter. It's the coaches that understand, okay, how are we going to counter that?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to prepare? How are we going to stop them? How are we going to counter it? What are we going to do off it? And the coach is so instrumental in that. That's why it's so imperative that you get. And Nick Saban, we've seen it many a times, Chris. There's coaches that have all of this talent and they can't win.
Right. Exactly.
It goes beyond the talent, guys. It really does.
And let me say one more thing about Nick Saban, and I read this in an article.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, folks really don't like his biggest challenge that he has every year. I mean, his staff gets poached every year.
Yeah, it's replacing every staff. Year. That's his biggest.
Every year.
Talent, he doesn't worry.
I mean, yeah, but how do you? I mean, so now we go from. And you think about what? Oh, sorry. We'll just talk about one other thing. Bryce Young, they did a great thing on him with Kirk Herbstreit on ESPN. He spent some time with them, and you want to talk about cool as a cucumber? I thought Jalen Hurts was cool as a cucumber. Oh. This dude, you can't tell when there's an interception, when they won the game, or if it's
90-yard touchdown throw.
I mean, but that's what you want in your quarterback. You want somebody.
The Bears have that in Justin Fields, but they can't have a QB competition.
Or Mac Jones, right? Same way, right? He's
Jones,
like
baby.
But I mean, you want to talk. So it was amazing. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah. So
Nick Saban.
Yes. I mean, when you talk about new offensive coordinators, you talk about new assistant coaches. His staff gets poached every year, and guess what? He's still in the hunt. And when he wasn't in the hunt, he kicked those players' asses again after the freaking Iron Bowl. Come on, man. I'm sorry. You okay? You feeling hurt? Oh my God, I would love to have been in that meeting. All right, that's my Alabama rant.
And a lot of rants tonight on this show.
Think about when you ask me that question, Phil. What do I think? How Cincinnati can do it against Alabama?
We will be bringing that next Monday night, breaking down all of the bowls.
All right. So now
Here we go.
Go to number 2.
Number 2, Michigan.
Booyah. Okay.
Not number 1.
Hey. Okay. All right. Okay. So here's my take on if you beat a team that, for all intents and purposes, was unbeatable. Mm-hmm. They were shutting people down.
This is what the bowl committee did to me.
Well, and me, and I did it to you too. I just said, "Hey, buddy."
I know.
Turn around. I grabbed the best of me.
This is your debate right here.
This is it, and this is. I mean, and I'm forget about the Alabama bias, but you beat a team that's that dominant, and you're ranked 3, and Michigan beats Iowa.
Iowa was ranked during the season.
8, 4, 6, 4, 8, 9, 12. So when you look at the rankings for Iowa versus playing Michigan.
Okay, they can't be battled who they play. How about the week before, Chris?
I'm fine with that.
How about this stat I got to throw at you?
Please,
in my
please
debate.
do. Please do.
The first unranked preseason team to ever be in the championship series.
Amazing.
That right there pushes them to the top of DDP's poll.
Absolutely.
Number one, I think they should be. And that would be my debate. Okay, I get Alabama beat Georgia.
Yeah,
but Michigan was number 2. They beat Ohio State.
Yes.
They beat Michigan State.
Yes.
Who was number 5 at the time.
Which they got rewarded for.
Exactly. And now they had to beat who was in front of them. And it was Iowa. And they not only beat them, Chris.
They smoked them.
Going against your word here.
Well,
they smoked. They didn't play Tulsa and win by 3. They played Iowa at the championship and whooped their ass right off the field. Like destroyed them and said, who's next?
Okay. Absolutely. I love it.
Exactly.
Which is
so
why
my
I like
fight would be they should be number 1. I think the Nerd Boys in the college football playoffs blew that, and it should have been set up to be Michigan, Alabama for the championship. That's what I thought it would become, but this is what we have. It's Michigan, Georgia. How's Georgia going to respond? This is going to be a tough game. I think I put the onus on the tougher road happens to go through Georgia and Michigan. Alabama, I think we'll save it for next week.
Okay.
But I love your ranking up until this part right here.
And that's fine. And that's what's called
debate. It's healthy. Yes.
Debate. Yes. And see, we don't hate each other.
I love you.
There you go. See how easy that was. But
I have your little doll in my room.
Okay. Is it a blow up one? Or
no.
Hold up now. You didn't mention that before. Hold up now. Maybe we need to cut the.
It's not a blow up.
Cut the
it's a little collector's toy. It's over here.
Are you sure? Okay, because I got a little nervous there.
There we go. Nervous. Look at this. It's even wrapped.
Why am I in plastic?
You're safe. This is so Tate and Devin don't open it. He almost opened it. I'm like, don't open him.
Oh, hey, isn't that the guy that you do that?
Yes, that was his.
There you go.
That was his funny comment. My son, he's 7. He loves football, and he's like, "Wait, you do the show with the guy that's the doll?
Get the toy.
The toy." So
that's awesome. So here's my Michigan thing, and I hope folks understand that this doesn't happen. And he even actually did some stuff that was way beyond. So what Luke Holtz would do when we were in school, he would bring in the CEO of FedEx. I mean, he would bring in fighter pilots to talk about their experience. I mean, he gave us a broad swath of just everybody. I mean, talked about leadership, talked about business. I mean, everything, right? And I hadn't seen that in a long time. And then when Jim Harbaugh started to take his kids for spring ball on historical freaking adventures.
He went to Italy.
Are you kidding me? When he took him to Normandy, are you kidding me? So can I go, please? I just want to go there. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who gets it? I mean, those experiences that those kids have that they'll never, ever forget. Not sure, look, they're 18, like, man, why I don't want to hang out here. When you're 30, 40, 50 years later, you're going to remember, and it's going to be such a special moment. And what you saw there is going to end. The folks, and I'm sure Harbaugh brought folks in, got to talk about those experiences. That's what a leader of men does, right? They say, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach these kids something I can't teach them. My ego's not that big. Hey, man, let's go to North. And I'm sure the AD was like, wait, hold on, say what?
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
I can't imagine what that it was probably $2 million, right?
Oh
So the
my
whole
God.
team of guys over there playing whatever. Hey man, this is, and I'm sure obviously Michigan.
They
got
met
some
the
players.
Pope. Exactly,
on.
Joey. They met the
Hello?
Pope. Imagine you met the
Who
Pope.
does that? Who does that?
Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, Brian Kelly, Notre Dame. He didn't take him to go meet the Pope. How's Michigan guy? Come on, but that's he went there.
Gave him breakfast sandwiches.
He cares about the team. I mean, come on. I mean, this guy. I'm not even talking about him sleeping, in a hammock or overnight at the dude's house, the recruit's house. I mean,
Right.
This goes beyond. So he will always be like my top 2 or 3 coaches because he understands. Hey, I'm in a position to create life-altering memories for these kids. Why don't we do it?
Exactly.
And they found like little NCAA caveat because the first people were pissed because he took them to Florida. And they're like, well, we're going to practice at IMG or something like that. Then all the Florida coaches got pissed off because Michigan, we can't do this. Okay, you can't do that. All right, cool. I'm going to take them to Normandy. Excuse me, what? Every coach that can afford it, every big school, they should learn from this. I know they won't. I'm sorry, this is my rant, man. They should learn from this. Because these are experiences that go beyond the class. These are experiences that go beyond the X's and O's. These are life-changing experiences that these kids are going to remember. And it's going to affect their lives. Yes. Guaranteed. I mean, listen to the guy listening to the fighter pilot, and I remember exactly what happened. He brought in, well, I won't go with that. But again, just amazing experiences. And so when you have a coach like that cares that much, you want nothing but success for him. So
I totally disagree with Citizen X.
What did Citizen X say?
Harbaugh cares about one thing, himself. He was lucky the league was down.
Okay.
Well, they weren't down, number one.
So Citizen X, I appreciate and respect your opinion, but I'm talking about like taking the team to Normandy, bro. Like
Normandy, Italy. He's given these guys worldly experiences. We live in a world that doesn't even teach history properly. Here, the coach is bringing you there. That is historic in itself.
I got a guy who was at my school for 12 years, bounces when his kids are on the cusp of, or you know what? Here, let me just take Alabama. We're going to talk about Nick Saban, didn't we? Okay, number one.
Number one. Alabama.
So obviously save the best for last. Notre Dame not just named, but officially today named a new head coach. Marcus Freeman was their defensive coordinator. Ironically enough, last week during this show, Shane kind of gave you the breaking news, and I thought you were kidding me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "What do you mean? They're 11-1, have a chance maybe to get in the college football play? Why would There's no way. What are you talking about? Psych." Okay, so this look, I love Notre Dame. I bleed blue and gold, as y'all can see. I got my national championship. I mean, this is a great day for Notre Dame football. But what we saw when Coach Kelly left was embarrassing to the coaching profession. It was embarrassing to hopefully his family. And I'm sure he's kind of rethinking this, like, man, it probably wasn't the best way. Okay, Chris, what is the best way? You find the best way, okay? Not even comparing. When I changed coaches, when I hired a coach at Chicago State, I called each individual player. Okay, granted, basketball, not that many numbers. It doesn't matter. You were there for 12 years. You talk to these parents in their homes, which I have another story for that. So, I mean, you've breathed, lived. And now, what we didn't realize or what we forgot about, 12 years ago, around this time, Cincinnati was, I think, 10, 12-0, 11-0.
Yep.
They had a team banquet. Hey, blah, blah, blah. There were rumors. He was talking to his team, last part, guys from Notre Dame, dropped the mic and rolled. These kids are like, wait, we're letting know we're in trouble. I forgot what the record was. We're about to go to this great bowl game, blah, blah, blah. Dude, kids came out of the bank of crying. One kid he was swearing everything. ESPN was out there. So he has a history of doing this. Yes. But, I mean, you leave kids who are on the cusp of being successful. And it's just so different because when you look at people who are leaving programs, and, you know, I mean, again, there's no right way or whatever. And I'm not blaming Coach Kelly for them. I mean, look, you're in a business, right? I mean, this is what you do, but you do it in a respectful manner. Am I condoning? Am I saying what he did was right? Absolutely not. But my first question was, what's going on with those kids? I mean, how do these kids feel? I mean, you're, and it was really interesting because the media was shut off to the student athletes on the football team, except 4 kids have a podcast. And so right after they heard, about 2 or 3 hours later, that he left, they had their podcast. And guys like, hey, you know, I understand the system, blah, 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 it's money, blah, blah, blah. And one kid said, you know, yeah, but I bet when he comes back and talks to us, this is before they had a team meeting together, I'm pretty sure, you know, he's going to get emotional. Okay, so you fast forward, and he gives a 3-minute, 28-second speech to the kids and rolls. So he's been there for 12 years, gives this speech, and he rolls. I mean, are you serious? I mean, let's hug, let's talk, whatever. Nothing like that, right? So he rolls. So there's obviously these kids are in a flux. They have no idea what's going on. I mean, who's going to be our leader? You know, how could someone leave us at a time like this? And oh, by the way, some of his assistant coaches, you hear later, they were in recruits' homes recruiting for Notre Dame, Coach Kelly, the team. As they're walking out, their phone's blowing up. Hey, Coach Kelly just went to LSU. And we find out that actually Coach Kelly was at an individual's home. Got a phone call, left the home, 15 minutes, came back, finished the meal, Notre Dame son, blah, 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 left. The kid's dad started to get messages from his boys saying, hey, Coach Kelly's at LSU. Dude, he just finished his meal. No, he's with, literally, he just left. Really? I mean, this is what kind of guy that LSU's getting, by the way. So they named Marcus Freeman as the head coach. Now, they didn't have a press conference yet because the President Jenkins, Notre Dame's president, was actually in Rome visiting the Pope. So to make it official, they actually want to have that photo op, right? So they want to have the president, AD, and the head coach. They announced it. They named him the coach after like a day. This groundswell of recruits, groundswell of folks, you know, hey, we want Freeman. Interestingly enough, you see that none of the assistant coaches, which normally happens when coaches leave, were purged. They stayed. Now, maybe after the bowl game, some may go. But right now, no one from the staff left. And I think one recruit decommitted. Great. So they name Marcus Freeman as the coach. And Phil, can you show this first video? Because before you show it, I've watched this video probably 3,000 times. And for folks who have played any team sport, I don't care what it is, hockey, basketball, whatever it is, I've talked to non-football players who've watched this video and they said, wow, dude, I had the chills. I mean, one guy, dude, I was in tears. What you're going to see is the first time the student athletes see their coach after Coach Freeman has been named? Phil, can you roll that?
We're extremely proud of you guys on your focus and your ability to lock in all week long this week, okay? It was awesome to see, awesome to be a part of. It shows who you are, your DNA, your mental toughness, your physical toughness, the way you compete, the way you care about each other. Okay, that's what this team run is going to be about. Competing, getting after it with mental and physical toughness, and being the best in the country at what we do. Is everybody ready to do that? Yes, sir. All right, so what I'm going to do now, okay, because you're brand new head football coach.
Come on, man. I mean, that is. Coaches out there. Some coaches wish their players were that excited about. And hey, this is a honeymoon period. And look, he's not friendly with every single guy. He understands discipline. I mean, it's not his first rodeo. Hey, except as a head coach, it will be. But I mean, please don't think, oh well, you can't be buddy, and he's not their friends. I was at his press conference today. He said, look, your boy Sada video was great, but I'm still on their ass about stuff. So I say that to say, coaches that watch that who don't have that relationship wish they did.
Exactly.
Players that, and again, you got to understand where these kids are at. They're 18, 21-year-old kids. Their head coach just left when they're on the cusp of greatness. You know how hard, we're not in a conference. Do we lose one game, we're out of the conversation. You know how hard it is to play at Notre Dame? You know how hard it is to be a student at Notre Dame? I mean, all these emotions are running crazy with these kids. And their coach walks out.
Exactly.
And they name someone that they loved, that they want as their coach. So,
and you could see the genuine compassion, energy, and excitement that you're bringing to a known commodity. When you have that showcase, I mean, that's authentic. So the authenticity of the player's response to that news is amazing, and it's authentic, and that's what football's all about. And you can wish nothing but the best for Coach Freeman and those kids that want to play. And one other point, just double down on what you said, Chris. I don't think Coach Freeman had to say that to anybody, but in football, there's a level of respect and loyalty that needs to be had within the locker room as well as the coaches surrounding you. Those players are loyal to the guy. He's still going to hold them accountable. He's still going to be tough love. That I don't think I ever saw with Brian Kelly.
Oh, and by the way, Marcus Freeman was there for 11 months.
Exactly.
Not 12 years, 11 months, and his players feel like that about him?
That's Chris, you and I both know. It's like there's a level of energy that a person personifies themselves with. Nick Saban has become a master. You have to be a manipulator, master manipulator, motivator, all of it.
Absolutely.
In order to work with each individual personality. They come from Iowa, Nebraska, California, Texas, Miami, Florida, Connecticut, Jersey, Ohio, all over the planet to play this game, and everybody's upbringing is different. You need someone who can relate and also showcase discipline and accountability. That doesn't mean that players don't love them and them love them, but it's just like a parent. You got to be holding kids accountable to get the best of them. And that's what this is. And I think your next video, do you want me to play?
So this is one where, in obviously, I mean, this took, I have a friend, a mentor, and I wrote kind of my raw feelings right after the show, actually, last week.
Yes.
And I was fired up. And I sent it to him, and I was like, hey, man, I'm thinking about putting out this statement. What do you think? And he's like, whoa, hold on, Chris. Like, let's take a breath. Why don't you sleep on it a little bit and see how you feel about it in the morning? And I was like, you're right. I mean, there's no pressure out here. I mean, I care for the program, obviously, but I really care for these kids. And I'm glad that I wound up not posting my statement, but instead I wanted to get some other guys' opinions. And so if you go to my YouTube page at
Chris Zorich.
YouTube.com/Chris Zorich 50, you'll see I had 3 interviews. I had interviews with players like Tim Brown, Joe Theismann, to Rocket, to Ross Browner, to Ryan Harris. I mean, just a myriad of folks. But first, their opinion on what happened with Coach Kelly leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed some local and national media folks who kind of had the kind of boots on the ground, so to speak, kind of literally on a day-to-day basis what was going on. And then I had a group of former players to talk about the reaction of Marcus Freeman being hired. And it's really phenomenal stuff. If you have a chance, please check it out. It's really great. But I was really frustrated. And then LSU sends out this video of Kelly meeting the team for the first time. So, he has his backpack on and he's kind of rolling out. They give him a chauffeur in a car.
Gets off the plane.
I mean, everything. So they showing everything. They got the video guy and he's walking with him, great documentary. And, it's great. They do the video and it's I think it's about 2 or 3 minutes. And he addresses the team for the first time. And he says some stuff like, I wanted to coach great athletes. The reason why I'm here is I wanted to coach great athletes. I'm now here with a athletic director and president that cares about football, have great facilities, all this other stuff. So
taking shots,
big time. And I watched this and I was like, "You son of a bitch! Are you kidding? You left these kids, at this time that is so important to them. They're on the cusp, possibly going to go to the national championship game and compete. But even if it wasn't that, just the way he did it, he spent 3.5 minutes with them after heading the program for 12 years. So I was like, man, this is such a dichotomy. You got one guy who the players are freaking fighting themselves over, kind of pushing them around.
Authenticity
huge
versus.
And you get this other guy who walks in with his backpack, hey, then lays his backpack down and says, my name is Brian Kelly, and I am the head coach of your football. And these guys are
and they would make fun of him, Chris, for I don't know if you saw it on game day for getting the dialect.
Oh well, that's
changing.
I'm not even going to go into the fact that he was halftime at the LSU basketball game. He addressed the crowd, and he had this bullshit southern drawl. It was horrible.
How y'all doing?
I'm not even going there, bro. I'm going on.
I took it there.
What I saw. And that's fine. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But what we saw in this introduction to the team, and guys are kind of sitting there and kind of, slumped over and kind of listen, kind of leaning back and kind of okay, this guy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I saw that, and I saw when the kids saw Marcus Freeman for the first time as their head coach. So I was like, man, you know what? Can I do? Anyway, make a long story short, I wound up putting together both pieces of footage. It's only a minute long, and I kept the sound from both videos because I think it's kind of adds more to the dramatics, and I kind of increased Coach Kelly's a little bit more so you can kind of see what he's talking about with his new team and what these kids are going through with their old team. So, Phil, can you run that, please?
Hey, guys. Thanks for being here, obviously. My name is Brian Kelly, and I am your new head football coach. Look, it's day one. It's the first time you've met me, so I'm not here to win the press conference, okay? That's going to take time. You know, we're going to develop a relationship. It'll take time. It's built on trust. It's built on how we go to work every day. It's built on the things that we set as a standard within this program. Look, let me tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I wanted to coach the very best players in the country that are afforded the best resources in the country and play in the best conference in the country. That's an incredible challenge to a football coach. And I get that here.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
So first I looked for this. If anybody did it, I didn't see anything. So I posted it on social media, and all I said was, which team? Or no, I said, what team would you rather be on?
Right.
I mean, and again, this is a lot of emotion for these kids who just their coach just left. But I thought it was interesting how we talked about, like, Coach Kelly, as he was talking to his team, saying he wants to be around the best, he wants to coach the best. Meanwhile, there's these kids back in South Bend that he left who are going ape shit over, the guy who was named their coach, and you just saw that raw emotion. And
Exactly.
Saw the players like sitting down, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, hey, it's your first time, but they were just like, okay, who's this dude? And it was just such a difference, and I thought that was just so interesting. And so the last clip, I was fortunate enough to attend today's official press conference naming Marcus Freeman as the head coach at Notre Dame. And kind of on these lines of kind of how he feels about his players, I think, and this is just a small snippet of what he talked about when he was named the head coach. Phil, can you?
My current and former players, you are my why. You are my motivation. You are the reason I get up every day and work as hard as I can. To see you all reach your goals, to see you all set a goal and live out a dream is what gives me my inspiration every day to do what I do.
Can I go play? Come on, man. Are you kidding me? Dude, I got a guy who's like, hey, the reason why I'm here, dude, this dude's about to break down. About to get
Exactly. You could hear the emotion in his voice. It's cracking. It's compassion. It's passion. How could you not come away like bullets not loving this dude? Former Chicago Bear middle linebacker drafted, or I think he was a weak side backer drafted, will linebacker, out of Ohio State. So he's played the game.
Dude, he was like all Big Ten like twice.
And he's a baller, man. And he's now one of the best defensive coordinators they've ever had. Broke records there. And now 11 months later, it's a story. It's a story for Disney Plus.
He even said at the press conference, he's like, I didn't think it was going to. And there's no way. He was like, there's no way this was going to happen. And it did. So, I mean, that's beside the point. And
Chris, you know what? Recruiting matters. And when you have a school that puts these, what we call them, barricades, if you will, in grades that you've had to experience yourself, at the end of the day, football is the king in all of this. It's paying for softball, volleyball. It's paying for every sport. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Even basketball. I mean, Michigan, what do they have? 109,000 every Saturday. You think 110,000. How much does Notre Dame have? 85, 90,000 there?
Well, interestingly enough, we actually copied their football stadium like 1,000 years ago. So it's basically a smaller version of the Big House.
Yeah, but what is their total?
I
What can
think
they
they're
get?
at 89
90?
now. I think 90 maybe,
Yeah, I
or
thought
80 something like
still
that.
90,000 screaming fans. It's a moneymaker. And when you have a coach that's loved by his players, that message. And I think Brian Kelly, as I teased earlier, has set himself up for a challenge because you look like an arrogant prick going to LSU. Good luck recruiting. Obviously, he's going to get some recruits, but I think to your point, Marcus Freeman comes out of here as a likable underdog. The story of you, the story of Notre Dame in all of our minds.
Yes, it's everybody's story.
It's everybody's
right?
story.
It's everyone.
I think that's going to help in recruiting in a football factory. Like every kid wanted to grow up and go to Notre Dame when I was a kid. I don't know if it's like that now, but that's what it was. And listen, there's no bigger pressure in the world than playing quarterback at Notre Dame. It's still the same thing.
There's one other job. Being
What's
the head
that?
coach at Notre Dame.
So here he goes. I'm rooting for Coach Freeman. I hope we can get him on the show with us one time.
I would hope so. That would be really nice. And this is another kind of two more shameless plugs. One, I had a chance to interview Marcus Freeman before the season in July.
Yes,
and that's on the Zorich podcast. So if y'all can check that out, it's there.
Please go subscribe to the Chris Zorich podcast and his YouTube channel.
Find out why he was named head coach there. I mean, a lot of times, and I had this great comment somebody posted.
It got me nervous, Chris, when he said, "You are the why." I just had a flashback of Maggie said, "What are the why?" He actually gave you the why. He defined the why. So exactly. I was good, Marcus. Once you defined it, I was like, okay, he's got this. He's got this.
He made this comment and said because Notre Dame had been kind of so I don't know what the word is, but I mean, only certain players were allowed after games to talk and everything else. And you heard Marcus talking snippets after games and stuff like that. And this guy some random fan just said, hey, you single-handedly showed us who Marcus was. Because we talked about his parents. We talked about growing. His dad's black. His mom's Korean. Talked about that. He talked about the child. I mean, it was a great, great story. Anyway, so that's the first plug. The second plug, though, is the interview I did with the former players that after Marcus was named. And Ross Browner, who was by far the only thing he didn't win his senior year. Now, Russell, he was the defensive lineman at Notre Dame, the best to ever play the game, ever. The one thing he didn't win his senior year, the only thing he didn't win his senior year, the Heisman Trophy. He came in like third as a defensive lineman back in the 70s. Unheard of. This dude won the Maxwell. He won.
Wow.
There was a player of the year. He won everything. He was that great of a player. So he talked about how he hopes things are going to change because under Coach Kelly, they went to they had a reunion game, and the staff, not the football coaches, but the staff, administrators with direction from Kelly, wouldn't allow the former players to interact with the current players. This is the truth.
I know it is. It's just
Ross Browner mentioned that he had police officers step in between the former players and the current players.
There's no integrity or loyalty if you don't embrace your alumni and your former past players. How that happens and transpires is why this is a blessing in disguise. And I would tell Coach Freeman, if you haven't already, Chris, that the best thing to do is embrace and invite each and every one of them back into the building, back to the sacrifices that they gave. And I think colleges drop the ball when they don't understand that Chris Zorich, Tim Brown, Raghib Ismail, Ricky Waters, Jerome Bettis. I can go down, Joe Montana, all of the Mark Bavaro, for God's sake. Has he been in the Notre Dame building? We don't even know where he is. He might be in a mountain somewhere shooting bears. I don't know. But Notre Dame has done a disservice to the names, the brand. Bring them back and embrace them. It's the same thing. Finally, the Bears have taken a better step towards you guys.
Alumni, right?
Yeah, to the alumni. But they were doing that for years as well, until they got it right. So yeah, that's
there's obviously hope, but when you have, and the frustrating part was we saw a lot of and nothing against Brian Kelly's players, but they were embraced. You know, the former players during his era, they were great. Oh, yeah, hey, come on, man. You see him on the sideline.
Bring Cole Kmet back. Let him drop another pass. Let's.
So, hey, I like Cole. I like Cole.
I like Cole too, but he's got to catch the ball.
Cole's my guy. But I mean, so it was this influx of, hey, you know, it was all about Coach Kelly's guys. But when you get someone like Ross Browner, who doesn't feel welcome back because there was a police officer that got between him and the current.
You're treated like a nobody.
Ross Browner's jock. Exactly. Nobody on that team. The coach, nobody.
Exactly.
I'm getting fired up. I'm just saying. I mean,
no, it's like imagine them pushing Coach Holtz.
Come on, man.
Coach Kelly doesn't want you to outshine him. No, you got to put him in a box somewhere. Treat him right, but don't let him steal. That's the kind of crap.
All right,
that's
man.
The kind of crap.
I'm sorry, I got a little off my base there, but when you and the hard thing is that, you know, Notre Dame is a hard place anyway, and it's challenging academically. If you're a person of color, it's challenging because it's lily white there. So there's a lot of issues that may happen at that school. And for you to have someone like a Ross Browner or a Tom Gatewood or Tim Brown tells a great story about how he was coming back. And this is, I'm not kind of spilling beans. He said this on the podcast. He was coming back. They like offered him like some tickets on like, you know, the 30 or whatever. And he was like, well, wait a minute. You don't want to hide. Well, hold on. No. So like he demanded that he get in a box for him and his family. He's a goddamn Heisman Trophy winner. He deserves that. You can't put him in this on the 30-yard line up on the 16th row or 34th row with some fans. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
That's how it was. And again, just check it out. I would never lie about my fellow teammates.
No, he's not.
So,
he said it on the show. Chris has stories he could share as well.
But the idea that, I mean, these players are still again, they love the school. It was this coach. Now, I didn't know about this. And I hope now that it's public, people are going to talk about it.
This has got to change.
How does Tim Brown not feel welcome at Notre Dame?
How does somebody just look at it like this? I know because we used to get into this debate when I was playing at a Division I AA school, Hofstra. You guys get a scholarship, so it's free for you. But it doesn't take away the beating that I took, whether it be on the practice field or in games like Zorich, who was a 3-time All-American, CBS Defensive Player of the Year, national championship, as well as a college football Hall of Famer and second-round pick of the Chicago Bears. This is a living legend. Chris Zorich should be escorted in. Hey, Chris, what's up? Can you talk to the team for 5 minutes? That's what real men do when they appreciate the history of the program and the greatness of the game. Coach Kelly, like I said, it's a blessing that he's gone, and you hope this changes with guys like Raghib Raghib Ismail coming out and speaking out, Tim Brown, Chris Zorich, Jerome Bettis, and these guys that have sacrificed their bodies, everything for the game, for Joe and Sam and Bobby and the guy working in the factory and the taxi driver and the steam engine guy and every person that lives and dies with Notre Dame football. Just like you think Dante Jones goes to Oklahoma and he doesn't get treated like All-American. Come on. This has got to change. And that's the reality of the truth. And it should be. I'll speak for Chris Zorich.
Well, but then, I mean, and thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You should be treated like a king there.
But not like, I mean, I don't care about me, but when you hear that story about Ross Brown, it's like, this dude, he went to school in the 70s. Imagine going to Notre Dame, black, 6'4", I mean, just dominating folks. I mean, and then Tom Gatewood has this, he was the first black captain at Notre Dame. I had a podcast with him. Amazing story about how they were playing Georgia. No, they're playing Texas. They're playing Georgia in Texas. I don't know. I forgot what it was. But the team went to the hotel, and they were like, no, you got black players. And Aaron was like, Aaron Parseghian was the coach at the time. Absolutely not. He went there. They wound up staying at the hotel, to make a long story short. But, I mean, how do you play in that environment? I mean, he was named the first, when they named him the first black captain, and we had phones in our rooms in school. It was so bad. I mean, he'd pick up the phone, they would throw out the N-word, they would say, you don't belong here, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, at that point, he stopped answering the phone. He eventually took the phone out of the wall. Like how do you do, like, this is, I mean, This is Notre Dame, man. So there's this, man, I'm going on this rant, but you know, so needless to say, folks, former players are jacked because they look at it as, look, this dude understands the game. He played it. He understands. Excited. I'm wearing my national championship ring. I was down there today. It was great seeing him. It was great seeing his family. I don't know.
Six kids.
All 6 kids was awesome.
Father of 6.
Not kind of row. His dad was there. His mom was there. It was awesome. Just having a chance to see, just kind of revel in his shadow. I mean, it was just awesome to kind of see that. Myself and Pat Terrell went down there. It was just great to have a chance to see that. And Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director, phenomenal job hiring him, making sure that he has a staff behind him. But excited about Notre Dame. As you know, I still will be impartial if need be, but I think we actually hit a home run on this one. And as you can see, I am representing big time now with my national championship ring and my Notre Dame shirt. So
there you go. Chris Zorich, you got the poll. You got the inside thoughts and the excitement. I think Chris Zorich might have a Notre Dame jersey under that shirt. He's all the way back into the Golden Dome. We'll be back next week on our bowl show.
Pre-bowl show.
Yes,
pre-bowl.
We're going to be breaking down, giving predictions, talking with you guys, the fans. We might have
some guests. Going to have some guests. Some,
we're gonna,
as in more than one. Some guests.
Hopefully, we get Coach Freeman on.
Hold on, man.
Hold
on, man. Give us some time, bro. It's going to happen naturally. Don't worry about it.
Marinate. Let it marinate.
Let it marinate a little bit. We're good.
Cherie's throwing her UTSA champs.
Yeah,
she threw that.
USA, baby. There you go.
Conference USA champs. We'll see. We'll be talking about them in a bowl game. We're going to be breaking it all down.
All 40 of them. Break it down.
Break it down. We'll try to pronounce some of these bowls. It'll be a lot of fun. And Chris and I
talking about kind of the journey of these bowls too. I think that's
journey.
A lot of insight in how these teams are selected. What goes into that location? Just a small.
It's going to be a bunch of stuff.
There was a situation where several years ago, there was a team that was supposed to play in Hawaii, and the out-of-pocket cost that the school was going to incur was astronomical. And so one of the only teams left that could afford that type of trip was Notre Dame. So that's actually the reason why Notre Dame played in Hawaii that year, because they could actually afford it, and the team that was supposed to go couldn't afford it. So there's insights we're going to learn about that. It's not just, oh, hey, Idaho Potato Bowl and, the Smith Jones Bowl. No. And actually, Jimmy Kimmel even has a bowl. Which
Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. We're going to be talking about
that too.
So what are the whys?
There you go.
We're going to get into all the whys.
The following Monday, January 3rd, is going to be the post-bowl show.
Reviewing all the bowls, top performers, guys hitting the draft, seniors. Is this junior coming out? We'll be talking about all of that stuff.
And previewing
more guests and previewing the bowl championship series.
The national championship game. And then on January 10th, what do we have, Phil?
We have the national championship show. What are we calling it?
And more.
We pre-game show as well as
the NCHL show.
Yes, the NCHL show.
That's very close to some other acronyms that I don't want to mess up. Because the HN,
we'll come up. Ron G will have a graphic. We'll plan the title of that.
That's
so
awesome.
We'll be live right after the national championship game, breaking it down with you, the fans. Maybe we bring one of you fans on to give your thoughts with us. We'll see. We'll be going late into the night that night talking about what transpired in that game. So it's all going to be live here. Do me a favor. Make sure you like this show. Smash that like button. Share it to other people. Follow Chris Zorich's YouTube channel as well as his Twitter handle. Here's his YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and put Chris Zorich 50. You'll pop it right up. So
and
get over there.
I mean, I don't want to suck a broken record, but some of the last 3 podcasts, I mean, I've been blown away, and I've been
doing a great job. I was blown away.
I mean, I'm
like, you're learning from me.
Exactly. See, I'm real quick. I didn't throw one of those yet, but I'm learning.
Did you throw one of those in? Real quick.
I'll tell you what's hard though. So we actually stream live to my Facebook, my Twitter, and my YouTube.
Yes. Yep.
And I accidentally because I use the same system as Phil does for the platform StreamYard. And I accidentally hit the private chat part, the chat part.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like all these things popped up, and I was like, "What the hell was that? What the hell was that?" So then I was like, "Oh, these are the comments." But I'm a one-man show, so I'm sitting there talking. I'm like, "Should I even bring?" I can't. So it was so hard for me. So needless to say,
Cherie could step up if you need her sometime. You're a part of the
volunteer services.
The TTNL fan. I just know her. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Or one of the producers here. Everybody loves Chris Zorich. If you don't love him, I don't know what to tell you. In all truth, not blowing smoke. We went way over our show time.
Yes, I didn't realize what time it was. I'm sorry. That was me and my rant.
It's good. It's fine.
I thank you guys for allowing me to really get my true feelings out. And you could also see them during the podcast where, kind of with my brothers, kind of talking about what's going on and again, how these kids were treated. And, it's funny because I can show that to my mentor who's not a football player, the video of Marcus, going into the locker room, and he was like, "Dude, I'm getting chills."
Yeah.
So, it's just some amazing stuff, and it's kind of cool. I'm glad everything's kind of settling the way it did. People, I was reading some comments. Folks were saying I'm hating on Coach Kelly. Not hating on him per se, but what he did was wrong. I think hate's a very strong word, but what he did was wrong for those kids. Look, if you throw $95 million in my face, I'm going to rethink some stuff. But at the end of the day, if I'm in that situation, I'm finding a way. I don't know if I'm calling kid, whatever it is, do a Zoom. I don't know what it is.
You're doing it the right way, Chris.
Hey, man. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I know you. The integrity line that Coach Kelly crossed, and I'll say this for myself, was wrong. And it was completely a shoe salesman type move. You're all about yourself. Whereas you could see Coach Freeman is all about those kids. And that's the difference. And karma comes to people.
And all emotional fucking kid. I didn't hear Coach Kelly I don't think I heard his voice crack. Now I did. You know what I did hear his voice do? He started doing that little act night. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But, here you got Coach Freeman talking about his players getting the voice crack, getting emotional, and then you juxtapose that with Brian Kelly's halftime speech at the LSU basketball game, getting this fake Southern drawl.
So bad.
Come on.
Such a bad look.
Good luck, LSU. Thank you, LSU. Good luck. And then I know that the president of LSU was like, the hell did we get? What? Damn, what? Hey, man, you didn't tell me this.
We're sending Matt Nagy to Southwest Missouri State. They're looking for a coach, and I've sent his. I'm just kidding. We'll be back next week, as we said, the Super Bowl show with Chris Zorich and myself, breaking down all the bowls, getting you ready. This week, keeping it 100, we got Zach Pearson of Bear Report.
All right.
He'll be jumping on with us on Wednesday night, talking about the Chicago Bears. Is Nagy gone after the Packer debacle that's about to happen? Will the Bears compete? Will the different Bears show up? We're going to be breaking all of that down Wednesday night, 8:30 East. That's 7:30 Zorich time in the Midwest for those of you. So hopefully you join us there. I will be releasing my tape breakdown later this week of Bears versus, who did they just lose to again? Oh, the Arizona Cardinals this week. I'll break that down for you like nobody else does in this business with the tape, thus the truth. Last thing I want to say, David Montgomery is the real deal. Thank you, David, for being our Marcus Freeman of going out there and being a leader of men. Continue to do that. We'll talk more about that later this week. For my guy, Chris Zorich, and our super producer behind the scenes, Cherie Lady Bear, I am your guy, Draft Dr. Phil. We'll see you next week on Monday night, 8 East. Again, breaking it all down. Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.